All right, staying with us, yes, and joining me live, introduced earlier, is development economist Professor Ken Ife, and also Dr. Brian Ruben, Executive Chairman, 16th Council of the UK, joining me to discuss what it means for, of course, the globe as the Strait of Hormuz has now been opened. Now, Prof, I asked you a question that we saw a dip in the price of crude immediately after this announcement. What does it mean for the entire globe?
Yeah, it's expected. You know, especially the capital market respond very, very swiftly to any speculative whatever happens. They must be responding one way or the other. And they obviously what you're looking at are spot prices of oil. They also change. May not be exactly what transacts on any given day, but that responds almost instantly. But what we don't know is whether this is calm before the storm. We know that there are a few days before all of this will mean something. But let's just hope that there will be sensibility from the key warring parties, and then we'll have an extension of this. I know that Iran has given a good gesture of recognizing that America has persuaded Israel for them to have a truce with Lebanon, and for that reason, they unilaterally said, okay, everybody can go. But America had not responded. They just said, look, we'll continue to hold on with our thing, which is neither here nor there. But I think on balance, yeah, the prices are coming down. We hope that will translate almost instantly. I know within the next 2-3 days, Dangote may come out and say, announce a drop. But we'll still have the crisis of jet fuel in the country. And I was just listening to some commentators saying that it's more to do with oil marketers. I'm glad that's what I'm hearing, that they're doing about almost 300% rise in the price of jet fuel. Well, this is the thing. This is the thing I keep saying. If we didn't have this Dangote capacity, we would have been in serious trouble, because here we have faced a situation where we would have been paying 2,500 naira for a liter of fuel, and yet you can't have it. You have a long queue. Because explain to me why you are pushing your crude to China when China has blocked export of refined products. And it's not just fine for China, even Russia, that discounts their crude, are also blocking their export. And Kazakhstan, many countries are doing exactly that. And we are here sending our crude out rather than send it to local processing capacity, which is law.
Okay.
Not that it's an obligation.
All right. Let me get Dr. Ruben's view regards to this, particularly with the fact that the blockade remains. Now, I'd like you to give us a view of what you think this really means for the globe. Like Prof said, we've seen markets reacting positively to this. But how long? Because you hear operators saying we need to deal with cautious optimism.
Please, will you please, could you please repeat the question, because I didn't actually get what you said.
All right, I'm asking you to react to the fact that the blockade still remains, the naval blockade remains. What does it mean for the global space?
I didn't quite get that. However, the latest development is actually a major shift. We're seeing a partial de-escalation, not escalation. Iran has now declared the Strait of Hormuz open to commercial shipping again, and oil prices have already dropped sharply in response. And what I'm about to say is critical because the U.S. Blockade is still in place.
Yeah.
So what we see is a hybrid situation. The strait is open, but access is still controlled and access is still contested. We are seeing something even more telling. Ships now need coordination or approval to pass, which means the system is functioning but not freely. And the bottom line is the tension is a bit milder. The resolution, this is not resolution yet. It's a managed tension, and the crisis has moved from disruption to controlled opening under negotiation pressure. And everything now, of course, depends on whether talks hold or breaks again.
Then how would you also react to the fact that Mr. Trump is saying that the strait should not be used as a weapon of war?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Well, Mr. Trump tweeted, and he also said that Iran has agreed not to make the Strait of Hormuz a weapon of war, that's blocking the Strait of Hormuz, making that as a weapon of war. I said, how would you also react to that statement?
Okay, that's the Hormuz should not be used as a weapon of war. Is that what you said?
Yes, please. Yes. Was
that what you said?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's an important question, and that's essentially the signal that is now coming out. So the statement that the Strait should not be used as a weapon of war is part of a de-escalation message. And we are already seeing Iran, of course, reopen the Strait to commercial shipping. But it's important to understand that, what that really means. This is not full normalization. It's conditional. Ships can pass. They're under coordination and control, not freely. So what Trump, what someone like Trump is framing is this, that the Strait should remain open and not be weaponized, but on the ground is still a managed, contested corridor. So the bottom line is this: yes, there's a commitment in principle not to weaponize the Strait, but in practice, control and influence over it are still very much in play.
Interesting stuff. Now, Prof, before I let you go, Prof, moving on, what more would you expect? Because everyone believes that this should be resolved considering the global impact. You just touched on aviation fuel, and we also know how much we are buying white products here in Nigeria. So moving ahead, apart from this controlled opening, what more are you expecting with regards to this crisis?
That question for me, because
no,
I didn't hear what you said.
Prof, that's for Prof.
Okay, for Prof, okay. Maybe Prof heard it.
Prof, did you get my question?
Sorry, you're talking about the impact on Nigeria? Or?
Yes, impact on Nigeria. Let's wrap it up with that.
Well, the thing is this. I think Nigeria should really be promoting an alternative to the Gulf of Guinea, which is a Gulf of Guinea. An alternative, we have deep sea ports, we have, what would you call it? I mean, Nigeria presents an alternative to Hormuz, and we call it an Atlantic alternative. So we should promote our own. Look at how many deep sea ports we have in that area. That is from Angola through Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea to Ghana. That whole continental shelf, it should be promoting. We should be promoting that as a low-risk corridor where you have a lot of FLNG, and that will supply gas to Europe and Asia. And then we have huge oil reserves there, offshore, onshore. That's what we should be promoting. This is the momentous opportunity to promote it. And not sit back and they throw our hands in the air. We should be actively promoting. Look at how many deep sea ports that are there. We have Lekki, Badagry, the one in North Cross River. Well, Bakassi in Cross River, and then the Baka in Akwa Ibom. And so, you've got all that, and then One is a specialized one, deep sea port. So we have something in hand that we should be promoting. But other than that, the government should also think very carefully about the windfall tax, because what you should do is you put some of that money to foreign reserves, you put some of that money to our sovereign wealth funds, because they will earn you at least 10%, and then you go and take some of the IMF loan at 1% or 2%, as long as it's tied to project, not as a pocket money or budget support. And then, do the needful. I'm not happy that the minister is saying that we don't want to take anything. You leverage, loan is leverage as long as you are following the law.
Professor Ken Ife, I must thank you so much. That's our time. Development economist, and Dr. Brian Ruben, Executive Chairman, 16 Council UK. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you.